Welcome. My name is Okubo Benebo. Operating a subsistence farm such that farm produce as desired and with the implicit quality of healthfulness and high productivity obtains, as must have been surmised from the so far provided information, entails the deployment of light dispersers for the overhead-focused sunlight irradiation of plants. Specifically, the sunlight was collected with sunlight harness photoguide and then re-emitted into light dispersers for irradiation on the plants from directly above the plants. In some cases, the overhead irradiation of the plants with sunlight was aimed at restricting tropisms, and in other cases, the object was to ensure that the plant got close enough insolation of the sunlight through the day. Irrespective of the reason, the deployments were of light dispersers of geometry aligned with the lengthwise direction of the farm's ridges. Clearly, plants require sunlight for various spans of time, with the lower bound being mostly 8 hours and the higher bound going up to 16 hours in exceptional cases. However, there are not many places on the earth where the sun shines on a regular basis for 16 hours a day. Notwithstanding, though, of necessary consideration with farming in general and subsistence farming in particular is the implementation of the sunlight irradiation on the plants of intensity that is consistent with the needs of each crop plant. Obviously, this object of plant-specific sunlight irradiation with light dispersions can best be achieved with the deployment of accentuators and attenuators on the light tubes, transmitting the sunlight from the harness photoguide to the light dispersers, such that the sunlight reaches appropriate intensities at the incidences into the dispersers. In synopsis, then, this episode, entitled Building Farms Light Dispersers Network, proffers didactic guide to integrating farms irradiation light dispersers into a network of light radiators, approaches to accentuating the intensity of the light to ensure that the various plants received light energy in proportion to its requirement for bountiful growth, rationale or criteria for selection of a light dispersion network structure, and some considerations in the automation of the irradiation dynamics. The driver rationale guiding the building of farms light dispersion network has the object of establishing a mechanism for ensuring that the irradiation of the crop plants ensure the insolation on each plant be the same as the insolation of direct sunlight on the same plant that is otherwise in the open under the sunshine. In the simplest approach, this object can be accomplished with the use of sunlight harness photoguide per forming ridge over which a light disperser is deployed. However, each implementation would be infeasible for two various reasons. First, the cost would be entirely exorbitant. Second, there may not be the space available to allocate for the installation of the photoguides. So then, this approach is not quite appropriate for the circumstances of interest, which is the subsistence farming. Yet, because the photoguide is essential, the presence of at least one photoguide is admitted. Even so, that possibility suggests the option for an integration of the light dispersion in a parallel alignment. Consequently, the consideration also suggests inverse option of series or serial integration of the light dispersers. So then, undoubtedly, there are two options available for building the farm's light dispersers network. The options are parallel distribution and series distribution, and each distribution integration has its advantages and disadvantages. Admittedly, the context of design evolution is a set of parallel aligned light dispersers and is forced by alignment of the ridges as adopted. So, starting off with the default context of deployed parallel light dispersion structure for building up the network, an obvious implementation would be deployment of a light distributing tube bus running the full length of the width of the farm and hence at perpendicular alignment with the light dispersers, and have this light distributing tube bus be transmitting the harnessed sunlight from the photoguide and performing fractional incidence of the sunlight into each light disperser. An obvious deficiency, of course, of this approach is that for the irradiation on each plant be the same as the plant in the open, the photoguide must be large enough to cover a land mass such that insolation collected equals the same as would otherwise be shining on each plant. Quite possibly, though, such context design could be unsuitable for subsistence farms because of the size requirement. So an alternative design may have to be considered. Rationally, the light distributing tube bus can be redesigned such that at the points of the fractional re-emission are affixed light accentuators and attenuators devices as the case may be. The devices may then be tuned as required to ensure that the irradiation on the plants is the same as would on the plant in the open. The parallel aligned distribution may require that the disperser internal be such that the light incidence into the disperser be all irradiated by the directional end of the light disperser. That, of course, may create some issues, so a light return tube bus may have to be placed at the other ends to collect and redirect the disperser exiting light rays back to the incidence point of the light distributing tube bus. Such arrangement would certainly produce a network format of parallel light dispersers. Notwithstanding the limitations and the need for further improvement, the design preferred is in essence still a parallel light dispersers network, though agreed only as just one design. Yet there could be myriad designs. Now, a design of series light dispersers network can equally also be evolved from the default context of deployment. In this particular case, the light dispersers are connected end to end and start to start so that a continual stringing of the light dispersers obtained, starting at the photoguide re-emission point and ending in the light disperser of the last ridge of deployment. Again, this arrangement also suffers from continual attenuation of the light intensity as the beam travels through each light disperser. So as with the parallel light disperser design, there is the need to affix accentuator devices between the light dispersers, such as may be necessary. Yet tuning the accentuator devices so the precise insolation is realized through series light dispersers is more tasking and will provoke a more complex design with more involved management demands for a subsistence farm. Similarly, notwithstanding the limitations and the need for further improvement, the design provided is still in essence a series light dispersers network, even if but just one design, and agreed there could be myriad designs. Yet, a mix of the two options also offers some benefits and limitations. In this design, only some of the light dispersers are connected to the light distributing tube bus, and then depending on the dispenser exiting beam intensity, the beam is either accentuated or attenuated as required, and then re-emitted into an appropriate light disperser situated for irradiating at an insolation matching the beam energy content. Seemingly, this design architecture provides more flexibility and in matching transmission beams with the requirement of various light dispersers. Moreover, the architecture also offers, even if in the abstract, a union of the designs realizable for the networks of parallel light dispersers and series light dispersers. In conclusion, that could be drawn here is that structured farming of all farms, whether large industrial farms or subsistence farms, can benefit from the deployment of farm light dispersers network for directed irradiation of crop plants, and such network can be developed with a geometry that is congruent with the insolation needs structure of the farm, and consequentially cause high productivity to obtain. Significantly, this technology adoption proffers yet the potential for farming schedules reset, and so enables farmers to be able to irradiate each plant, the insolation of a quality compatible with the growth needs of the plant, and therefore prevail high productivity across the performance of all plants. And it is a wrap. And on that note, I say to you, thank you so much for having come to listen to this observation about efforts aimed at alleviating world hunger through subsistence farming by both urban dweller farmers and emergent country small farms farmers. You are truly appreciated, and if you would like to get privileged viewer reader information, access podcasts of specialized contents, or access even vertically integrated concepts, then I implore you to join my supporter club and enjoy that privileged status. Moreover, while still here, do please take a moment and subscribe to the channel as to be informed of the publication of every new episode as soon as it is released. Thank you. Bye till next episode.